Apple might have finally done it. The new iPhone 11 Pro Max has the best camera I've ever seen on a phone. Apple released 3 new iPhones all at once this year: the iPhone 11, the iPhone 11 Pro, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max. I've been reviewing the Pro phones for the past week, and I think they're great. Let's get into it. The iPhone 11 cameras are an enormous improvement over the XS and beat the Pixel and Galaxy Note 10 in most of our tests. Here's a 100% crop of a photo that I think could just be the entire review. This shot of Verge video producer Maria Abdulkaf outside in bright sunlight shouldn't be too hard for any camera to do a good job with, and all these photos look basically fine. But zoom into 100% crop, and the improvement from the iPhone XS to the iPhone 11 main camera is stunning. The iPhone 11 is way sharper with way more detail. I also think the iPhone 11 does a way better job than the Note 10, and it's a little better to my eye than the Pixel 3. That is a massive improvement. Here's a quick comparison of the ultra-wides in the 11 Pro and the Note 10. The Note 10 did a better job exposing the sky, but the 11 is just a much sharper photo with more detail. You can see the same thing with selfies. The XS Max has pulled up shadows so much that it looks a little hazy, while the iPhone 11 evenly pulls up shadows in Maria's face, but preserves the contrast with the background. The Note 10 did all kinds of goofy skin smoothing, and the Pixel 3 looks great, but it has less detail than the iPhone. Just look at her eyelashes. It's impressive. Now, there are places where the iPhone 11 didn't win in our tests. The XS historically struggled with backlit subjects, and while the 11 is a definite improvement, this photo is really blue, and there's basically no detail in Maria's face. I think the Note actually did the best overall job here. Apple also added a night mode this year, and it's really impressive. It preserves a ton more detail than the Pixel. It comes on automatically in the dark and suggests an exposure time, which you can tweak or turn off if you want. The Pixel photo here looks more dramatic, but look a little closer. The iPhone has preserved all of the detail in the brick and graffiti, which is basically gone in the Pixel shot. Both of these night mode photos look pretty similar, but look at all the extra detail in the bushes in the iPhone shot. Same with this shot. You'd never know that fence was even there in the Pixel photo. I think the Pixel produces more dramatic looking shots out of the camera, but I would rather have the extra detail from the iPhone. All in all, I think the iPhone 11 camera does better in bright light than the Pixel 3 and Note 10, and the night mode beats the Pixel 3 more often than not. Apple's also made video on the iPhone 11 better with improved stabilization, exposure, and the ability to record 4K 60 video from any of the 3 cameras. In fact, Apple says the iPhone 11 records the best video ever on a smartphone.
But is it really that good? Let's put it to the test. All right, so we're gonna head out in New York City and we're gonna test against the Note 10, the Pixel 3, and the XS to see who does video best. We started out the water, and immediately you can see the color differences between the cameras. The Pixel leaned into the warm tones, while Samsung muddied the mid-tones. And the iPhone XS leaned into the blues of the sky, while the 11 Pro balanced the warm and cool tones out the most. With the subject closer to the lens, the Note 10 kept the flowers the sharpest, while the iPhone XS blurred the background the most. In low light, Apple isn't afraid of underexposing the blacks, whereas in Samsung and Google will bring them up. Now, the 11 Pro does do a lot more smoothing to compensate for all of the noise this typically creates. The front-facing camera on the iPhone 11 Pro did a great job of balancing my skin tone and just the exposure in general, even against this large neon light source. But it wasn't as sharp as the Note 10. Now, all of these comparisons are great, but chances are you won't be recording on all of these phones side by side at the same exact time. So let's just talk about the iPhone 11 Pro. The front-facing camera now records in 4K, and the Slow-Fi is exactly how you'd imagine it. You'll use it once, and probably never touch it again. The video from the rear cameras, though, is really good. Like in perfect light, it's honestly just impressive. Switching between lenses is pretty seamless in terms of color accuracy and exposure, and you can use the dial method or just tap the lenses on the screen to switch. Now, you can't switch between lenses when you shoot in 4K 60, so make sure you set 4K 30 or lower if you're going to be doing that. But in low light, even the iPhone 11 Pro, when viewed on a screen larger than its own, succumbs to noisy blacks and haloed highlights. iPhones have always had great video, but the video on the 11 Pro is the best I've seen on a smartphone to date. And the gap is only getting bigger.
So that's everything you need to know about the camera on the iPhone 11 Pro. For everything else, check out our full review on YouTube.